Issues in Sudan, look at what you're having at KICC today. One group is at KICC parading themselves, and you are insensitive to the issues that we are supposed to be the arbiters of two people who are fighting.
If we have a weak military, no one is going to give us respect. We are spending only 1% of our GDP on the military, and yet we are seeing guns pointed at Kenya from all corners.
Kenya has always prided itself on being the diplomatic darling of East Africa, a nation that prefers to shake hands rather than throw punches. But under the Kenya Kwanza administration, it seems like Nairobi has been playing hopscotch on a geopolitical minefield barefoot, ignoring all the red flags along the way. From President Ruto tiptoeing into the volatile Congo conflict to openly causing up with Western powers despite warnings from fellow African leaders, and now rolling out the red carpet for Sudan's Rapid Support Forces (RSF) to discuss their alternative government plans without a care in the world. It is all fun and games until someone takes offense. And now, a growing number of government officials are wondering if push came to shove and an offended nation decided to retaliate, is Kenya actually capable of defending itself?
Issues in Sudan, look at what you're having at KICC today. One group is at KICC parading themselves, and you are insensitive to the issues that we are supposed to be the arbiters of two people who are fighting on the African continent.
Nairobi may be busy playing power broker in regional conflicts, but some Kenyan leaders are beginning to wonder whether the country has the muscle to back up its political bravado.
When we are talking about Congo, the reality, my brother Cherargei, is that we have a region which is affected by illegal mineral mining, by countries that are feeling incredibly insecure. You have Western powers who have an interest in managing what is happening in Congo. And the reality is we just laugh at it. So when M23 are coming to Nairobi to come and have a meeting here with our president, the simple fact that they came here put everybody onto suspicion mode.
We must spend on our military, and this is a conversation we must have.
Leading the chorus is Senator Moses Kajwang, who has raised the alarm over Kenya's military readiness or lack thereof. Kajwang argues that Kenya Defense Forces KDF might not be as prepared for war as we like to think, citing outdated equipment and a defense budget that's tighter than the economy on a bad day.
We must spend on our military, and this is a conversation we must have. We are spending only 1% of our GDP on the military, and yet we are seeing guns pointed at Kenya from all corners. We are seeing drones pointed at Kenya from all corners. Mr. Speaker, the war in Syria has confirmed that your enemy does not need to be your neighbor. That Turkey can hammer Syria from wherever they are. That even Kenya can be hammered from Yemen. Kenya can be hammered from the UAE. This is a time for us to ask ourselves, is our military getting the right budgetary allocation? And are they making the right decisions with those budgets?
According to him, the KDF's war chest is running low on the kind of modern machinery needed to stand up to a serious military confrontation.
Mr. Speaker, every time we go for a public holiday, we see those jets flying past. And to be honest, Mr. Speaker, since I was a little child, it is the same jets I've been seeing flying past. I wonder if there was a serious strife or any battle between Kenya and a neighboring state, whether those jets will be airworthy or whether they'll be able to go and attack the enemy. We must have that conversation. This idea of saying that the military is a closed black box that we cannot talk about, if we have a weak military, no one is going to give us respect. You have seen instances where in the old saying that the tail can wag a dog. You are seeing a tiny country, and I'm not going to mention names, a tiny country being able to ambush, attack, invade and overthrow the president of another country which is 100 times its size. Mr. Speaker, this is a conversation we must have.
So, are we well prepared, or are we simply betting on our good diplomatic luck to keep the wolves at bay? On paper, Kenya has one of East Africa's most well-trained militaries. The Kenya Defense Forces KDF have proved their mettle in counter-insurgency missions against Al-Shabaab, led peacekeeping operations in Somalia, and occasionally flexed their muscles along disputed borders. With an estimated defense budget of $1.3 billion per year, Kenya's military is better funded than many of its neighbors. But should the country ever find itself in an actual state-to-state war, would it be ready? For starters, the Kenya Army has a respectable arsenal, T-72 battle tanks, armored personnel carriers, and rocket artillery capable of delivering a nasty surprise to any invading forces. Kenya's elite special forces units, particularly the Kenya Army Rangers and the 20 Para Battalion, have earned a fearsome reputation in unconventional warfare. The Kenya Air Force is also no slouch. With its fleet of F-5E Tiger II fighter jets and AH-1 Cobra attack helicopters, it can mount air-to-ground assaults, while drones keep an eye on enemy movements. Kenya's reconnaissance plane provides real-time battlefield intelligence, making it harder for an opponent to strike without warning. On the intelligence front, Kenya enjoys direct support from Western allies, like the United States and the UK, both of whom have vested interests in maintaining Kenya's stability. Cyber capabilities and electronic warfare could give Kenya an edge in a conflict that extends beyond conventional battlefield. But here is where things get tricky. Compared to regional heavyweights, Kenya's military remains relatively small. Sudan, for instance, boasts over 110,000 troops, more than triple the size of 24,000 Kenya's active duty forces. The Sudanese Air Force also possesses MiG-29 and Su-25 fighter jets, which, despite being older Soviet-era models, pack more speed and firepower than Kenya's aging fleet. And then there is the issue of budget constraints. Senator Kajwang has a point. Kenya's defense spending has not kept pace with the growing demands of modern warfare. Many of KDF's military assets are due for an upgrade, and without increased fundings, Kenya risks falling behind in the arms race. The Kenya Navy, while competent, wouldn't factor much in a potential standoff with Sudan, a landlocked country. However, if the conflict spilled into the Red Sea, Kenya's maritime forces might struggle to secure supply routes. Let's be clear, Kenya isn't in the business of picking fights. But if retaliation ever came knocking, whether from Sudan, a disgruntled regional neighbor, or any other aggrieved party, Kenya's best strategy wouldn't be an all-out ground war. Instead, KDF would likely rely on precision airstrikes, special operations, and cyber warfare to neutralize threats before they escalate. And let's not forget the diplomatic wildcard. Kenya still holds considerable influence within the African Union, IGAD, and the UN. If things got ugly, Nairobi would likely lean on its international allies to de-escalate tensions before bullets start flying. While the Kenya Defense Forces wouldn't be caught completely off guard, they wouldn't have an easy fight either. The country's military is well trained, highly respected, and capable of defending Kenya's borders, but a prolonged, long-scale conflict would stretch its resources thin. Kenya might not be actively looking for a fight, but if its diplomatic juggling act backfires, the big question remains, is KDF ready for the fallout? Or will Kenya find itself scrambling for cover while asking, how did we end up here?